Hello everyone, Jai Jagannath. I am Jasmine here. Welcome to my channel Take and Beyond with Jasmine. In our last series, we discussed about what is SQL and features of SQL. Then we discussed about different data types like numeric data types, date and time data types, character data types, Unicode character data types, binary data types, then Boolean with special data types. Here I highly recommend whoever did not attend my last series, just go back and watch the series so that you can get thorough idea into that. Without wasting time, let's start our today's session. In our today's session, we'll cover database management or operation and constraints in SQL. So, आज we see SQL database management or SQL database operation. So what it means? If we will break down that sentence like database management, then we can analyze that how to manage database. Okay, what type of operation we are doing on databases. If we simplify, then we can say like what type of operation we are doing on database. From the picturization diagram, you can see like it is mentioned create database, select database, rename the database, then drop the database. If we will explain or define, then we can say like it explains the key processes involved in creating, selecting, selecting, renaming, create, select, rename and dropping the database. Create, select, rename, dropping the SQL database. As we know, database inside the server there are so many databases, and each database contains table, and table consists of column and row. That vertical line will be our column and that horizontal line and the horizontal line will be the rows. Okay, so here like C1, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, etc. Here like that each row will contain the record or data. Okay, so this will be our record or data, we can say. So now here our main motto is what type of operation we are conducting on database. So we can create the database, like we can generate a new database, then we can rename the database. Okay, rename in the sense like that existing database, how we can rename that existing database name from old to new one, which one we want. Then select the database. Suppose there are so many databases, which one we want to specifically make it active, or which database we want to use for our purpose. So we can, for that we can use select the database. Then whenever databases is not needed, how we can delete the database and show the databases, like in available databases, how we can check what are the databases exist in my server. Hope you got it. So let's explain one by one. Here it is saying create database. As I told you, like create database command is used to initialize a new database. It creates an empty database that acts as a container for your tables and other database objects database objects is nothing but our table, column, row, okay, and then data. So here it is saying that used to initialize a new database. This is nothing but how to generate a new database. Okay, for that the syntax will be our create database, then database name. The most important part, you will have to remember the each and every syntax for the commands. Okay, so create database, then database name, which database name we want to create. Then next it is saying select or use database. As I told, like we inside the server there are many databases, but which particular database I want to use. For that I will have to do make it select the particular or specific database so that it can be active. Like use or select database command allows you to select a specific database for the current session. Once it is selected, the database becomes the active database. Okay, active database. For that we will use the syntax use database name. Use database name. Then it is saying rename database. Rename, like already we have given the name for the database, but still we want to rename it, like from one name to another name, which one we would like to make. That's why it is saying it is used when we need to rename an existing database. For that we will have to make the syntax like rename database, old database name to new database name, which one we want to make it to the new database name. Then it is saying show database. It is used list all the available databases inside MySQL server. Okay, that means like what are the databases are existing or available in my server. For that we'll have to write the syntax show databases. So databases basics. Okay, just remember show databases so that we can check the lists of databases. Then it is saying drop the database. It is nothing but our, like whenever we don't need the particular database, simply we can delete the database. Once it is deleted means completely from the server it will be vanished. All the whatever inside the database like table, our column, row, each record, data, everything will be vanished. So drop database, it is used to permanently delete a database along with all its tables, data and objects. Got it? For that we need to write the syntax drop database, then our database name. So just check what is the similarities in create database, rename database and drop databases. Everywhere we will have to just first create database, then rename database, then drop database. Got it? Then database name. Here I want to just figure out like the rename database we cannot make it in MySQL because MySQL will not permit us to do rename the database. Already I mentioned here, okay, highlighted that why rename database does not work in MySQL, because it could cause the corruption if the database had stored procedure, triggers or foreign keys. That's why MySQL dropped these features. So MySQL will not allow to do this rename function. Okay, so just go through it, just make the concept clear so that we can do practical in MySQL workbench. Just go through it. Let's open your MySQL workbench. We will see one by one how to create database, rename database. Though rename will not work, still I want to show you what it is throwing. Let's see, one by one we will explore. So just open MySQL workbench. Just a minute, let me open. We'll have to remember each syntax for scroll down. So let's move to MySQL workbench. We'll see one by one. Okay. So in MySQL workbench, you can see like under navigator there is schema, and here just right side of the schema there is a refresh symbol. Okay, and this white body like SQL file 4, under this we will have to write the query and run it. And here just below there is a output mention, that action output. Here we can see our output is executed successfully or not. Okay, so let's see. First, before defining the statement, we need to define the statement. How? Through the comment. So how we'll have to put the comment here in MySQL? Just use the hyphen, double hyphen, then space, then use the comment like what we want to see or do. So we'll have to define the statement. First I want to see like what are the databases are available inside my SQL server. So for that, what we need to type that so the list of databases. Why I want to show you? Because during the installation we created one database, JasmineDB, though I already deleted all this. So I want to show you. So the list of databases in MySQL server, it will automatically understand, but still for the sake of understanding, I want to show you. So just click enter, then write the query. So just you tell me what will be the syntax for checking the list of databases. So here the syntax will be show databases. It is case sensitive. Even if I will mention in uppercase or lowercase, it will take all in lowercase later. Then every time our syntax will be ended with semicolon. Now you can see that blue circle is there in left side, that means our query is right. Now we need to run and execute. So here is the symbol, execute symbol. So just click on that. So it is showing me information, all inbuilt like information schema, MySQL, performance schema, sys. Under the database column it is showing me. Okay. So even if I refresh, here you can see like only sys database it is showing. So now it's time to create the database. Then enter, then come to next line. So again we'll have to define the statement. Now I want to create or generate a new database. So create a new database named, what will give the name? You can give any name, JasmineDB. Okay, enter. Then what will be the syntax for create a new database? What? Create database, then database name Jasmine_DB, then semicolon. So now it's time to execute. Let's see our query runs successfully, because in output section you can see like green tick mark it is showing, that means one row affected. So just, but here it is showing it is successful, but if I see under schema it is not there. So what we need to do, so just refresh the schema. Now you can see that Jasmine DB is generated. Okay, if I will click on that Jasmine DB, now it is showing tables, view, stored procedure, function. So now the table is empty, because now it is an empty database. That's why under the table it is not showing nothing. So now what I need to do, create is done. Now we will do rename. Sorry, once we check the databases, then create the database which we want to make. Once it is done, so among all the databases, now if I will want to show you that, so let's see what are the databases now existing. For that, again check the list of databases. Again same syntax, so databases. Okay, now run the query, execute. Now you can see that now one addition of database like Jasmine DB. So now it's total 5. See, 4 it was there first, then now it's 5. Okay, due to Jasmine DB. So our aim got right. Now we'll have to do select the database. Select or use the database Jasmine DB. Now I want to make that Jasmine DB database huge. So for that syntax will be what? Huge database name, huge Jasmine underscore DB, then semicolon. Before to that I want to show you like in two ways we can select. So just go to under schema, under schema that Jasmine DB, just double click that Jasmine DB. Now you can see the difference. Now it became bold letter, black bold letter, Jasmine DB. That means it is now active database. Jasmine DB database became active. In other way, if you will go through the syntax, then we'll write the use Jasmine DB, then select, then run. So it is saying 0 affected, run successful. Okay. Now our select database is done. Now what we need to do? Rename the database. Rename database from Jasmine underscore DB to Techno underscore DB. But here I want to inform you that rename will not work here in my SQL due to this view, store procedure, function, foreign keys, etc. Okay, so still I want to show you. If I will write that query, rename database, then what will be the next old database name, Jasmine DB, to new database, Techno DB, then underscore, okay, semicolon, sorry. See, already red cross it is showing me. If I will just keep the cursor, hover the cursor under database, it is showing database is not valid at this position, expecting alter. Rather, if you will use alter, analyze, bin log, okay, so it will not work here. Just for the sake of understanding, we will go through it. Then already we created a database, then select the database, then show the databases, then now it's time to delete the database. Suppose I don't need that Jasmine DB for now, so for forever I don't need Jasmine DB. So for that, what we need to do, just drop the database so that it will completely vanish from the server. Okay, because no need of Jasmine DB. So for that, what we'll do, as I told, like first define the statement. Okay, so we are going to drop the database. So for that, comment it through double hyphen space, then drop the database Jasmine underscore DB. Sorry. For that, syntax will be drop database. Every time just check your spelling, database, then database name Jasmine underscore DB, semicolon. Okay, now our query is right. Now it's time to run and execute. See, drop database, 0 rows affected, green tick mark, that means it is done, it's deleted. In schema also you can see the result. If I will refresh also, that no Jasmine DB is there. Okay, now if I will check the lists of database, check the list of databases in server. For that, what we need to write the syntax? So databases, semicolon. So now it's time to run and execute. Let's see. See, we again came back to 4 databases. So there is no Jasmine DB database. You got it? Now again we want to create a new database. So what we need to do? First comment it, create a new database, name, what we will give? Take beyond underscore DB. Okay, now we will create a database, that name will be take beyond DB. So create database, just double click on that, create database name take beyond underscore DB, then semicolon. Every time the query will be ended with semicolon. Okay, now it's time to run and execute. Let's see. So it is successful, but here it is not showing. So for that, what we will have to do, just refresh the schema. Now it is ready, take beyond DB. Now again, if I will show databases, for checking the list of databases, okay, now it will show us 5 databases. Run and execute. See, take beyond DB, it is executed. Okay, so these are the operations which we can do with database. Okay, so just go through it. Here is the save the script to a file. Just left to the execute button, there is a save option. You can save. Okay, it will show you which folder you want to save the file. Suppose take beyond DB. Then format will be .SQL save. Okay, see, that file got saved. So for function like create, we created database, then select the database. So tell me, suppose I want to use this database, what we need to do? Just double click on that. Otherwise you can write like huge database name like tick beyond underscore db. Same. Oh, sorry, somewhere I spelling mistake. So whenever that query will be wrong, that time execution will show that it is wrong. Now it's correct. Okay, now successful. So schema it is showing like take beyond db, because now we have used this one. Now this is the active db. Okay, so we created a database, show databases, use database for active, and then we did rename, then drop the databases, completely deleted from the server. Okay, hope you got it. Okay, just go through it. All the syntax very important for you. Okay, come to our slide. Okay, hope you understood. How to create database, select database, drop the database, and rename the database. Okay, so now let's move to our second slide. It is saying about constraints in SQL. Constraints, that means what are the restrictions? Like it is nothing but our rules and regulation rules applied to the table column to restrict the type of data that can be stored. So now it is completely about table. So table consists of column and rows. So vertical line will be our columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, etc. Then each horizontal line will be our row 1, row 2, where for each row there will be data or record for every column. Okay, so these will be our data or record, we can say, and these are the column or schema. Okay, so table. So it is saying about that rules applied to the table and columns to restrict the type of data that can be stored. So how the data type is restricted on table or column. Okay, so for that the rules are applied. So what will be these rules are nothing but your constraints. So there are 6 constraints. We'll go through it. One is not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, check, default. So we'll explore one by one. Okay, hope you got it, the definition. Okay, so constraints is nothing but your rules that applied on table and column to restrict the data type that can be stored for the column. Okay, so let's see. It is saying not null. So how will be our column? First, remember the column name. While we will execute or create the table, that time we will need of it. Okay, because table consists of column and data. Okay, so column name, then our data type, then last one will be a constraint. In this order we will create the table and column. So it is saying about the column. Okay, so what it is saying, not null. First constraint is not null. So it ensures a column cannot store the null value. Okay, so what it means, that it is saying that column, each vertical line will be our column. Okay, so this column, each and every column cannot store null value, like it should be not null, like null means 0 or blank. So it is saying like column should not be null. Okay, so suppose if you will go through the example, you can understand well. So it is saying first name, as I told you that first whenever we will create the table, first once table name, then our column will come to picture. So first column name, then data type, second will be data type, then third will be our constraint. Okay, what type of constraint? So based on the column name, our data type, then based on both column and data type, our constraint will be decided. Okay, so first it is saying it ensures column cannot store the null value. So first name, like column name it is. Okay, then varchar 50, that means the data type of a column, obviously name will come under character data type. Okay, so that's why we have used varchar. Then 50 will be the maximum character limit we can take for the name. Then it is saying constraint, that constraint will be not null. Okay, then next constraint is unique. Unique means there will be no repetition or no duplicacy. It ensures all the values in the column are unique. Okay, so whatever data will be under column, each and every data should be unique. There should not be any duplicacy. If we will go through the example, then you can understand well. So what it is saying, email, first column name as I told. So email, then which data type, varchar 100. It obviously email, it will contain alphanumeric, so varchar 100. 100 is the maximum limit for that character for email. Then constraint, so unique should be there. So our email column should be a varchar data type and unique constraint there. Okay, then it is saying third constraint is primary key. As I told, if you have remember, like how to identify that primary key and foreign key. Suppose in one table we have taken, suppose employee table it is. Okay, that column, first decide the table name, then decide the column name. Okay, then our data type and constraint will come to picture automatically. Okay, so first suppose EID, employee ID will be there. Then for under employee table, what will be the column, you just decide. Okay, analyze. First employee ID, then next column will be, suppose we are keeping employee name, then third column we are keeping suppose employee salary. Okay, so you just tell me which column in these three columns under employee table, which column will act as primary key. Okay, so how we will decide the primary key? So it's simple. Primary key is combination of not null plus unique. So if we will see employee name, there may be similar name will be there. Okay, in the data section. Same way employee salary, sometimes we can see also salary will be same for the employees. Only column left over, that is employee ID, where that ID will be not null plus unique. There will be no duplicacy in the ID or serial number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, just consecutive order it will goes. So it is saying primary key uniquely identifies for each row combination of not null and unique. You just remember. Okay, combination of not null plus unique will be our primary key. So just go through the example. So it is saying first how we will decide, first column name. Okay, subject will be there, then based on the subject we will decide the data type and constraint. So employee ID is the column name, then data type is integer, so int, then primary key our constraint. Okay, so we will execute all this practically whenever we study about all the operation queries. Okay, so that time slowly we are getting into query operation, so no worries for that. In command also you can see. Then so just be clear in the concept. Then it is saying about foreign key. Foreign key, when it will come to the picture, whenever there will be two or more tables. So to relate this or to get the link in between two tables, we are taking taking the help of foreign key. Suppose here I am taking employee table. Okay, this one is the employee table. As I mentioned, employee ID, then suppose employee name, then we are keeping department ID. Okay, here under department table we are keeping one is department name. Okay, then department ID. Okay, so here you just tell me, for employee table we knew that employee ID will act as primary key, but here under department ID also same way primary key, but here we are finding out which one will be the foreign key. So the common column in between two columns will create the relation to join the two tables. So how the employee table and the department table will be related? Because of department ID column, because if you will see the analyze two tables, then department ID is common in both the table. So this department ID will act as our foreign key. Okay, so here it is saying it ensures referential integrity between two tables. Okay, so foreign key will be your department ID. Then come to next constraint, it is check. So check means when that check concept will come to picture, whenever we are taking any conditions. Okay, so it is, that's why it is saying ensures value meets a condition. Use check when you want to enforce business rules inside the database. That means, example like suppose salary should be greater than 0, age should be greater than equal to 18, percentage less than equal to 100. Okay, so whenever in our practical scenario, real-time scenario, like whenever any client or stakeholders they come to us, then they give the a master data set with the some condition, like my inside the data set my this column should be like this should fulfill like this condition. So that time we will use the check constraints. Okay, so let's see how we are using. Suppose here one table we have created, that table name employees. From the picture, that query you can analyze like which one is the table name and column name, and then data type constraints. Okay, so how to just create the table, here it has been written. So see, create table name, like employees is the table name, then here we can see like three column, one is the employee ID, then salary, three columns like employee ID, one is second one is salary column, then age column. So now we will segregate. Suppose employee ID, then what? Definitely after column name what will be there? Data type, then constraint. So let's see. So employee ID, then it is saying int, then primary key. Okay, then comma, then salary, then salary column. So you just tell me salary column, this column which data type it will come to the picture? Obviously decimal. Okay, so as we discussed, like where we will use float data type and decimal data type. Okay, so this decimal data type we will use basically in the financial data. Okay, so salary is a financial data, so decimal data type. Here it is saying inside bracket that one precision and scale, like 10, 2. What it means? 10 is the total digit, like before and after decimal total digit will be 10, and comma 2 means that after decimal 2 digits will be there. Okay, so hope you got it. So first is the, so check it is when the condition, so already suppose we are taking the condition salary and age. Okay, so there we will use the check constraint. So here salary, first is the salary column name, then data type, then our constraint will come to picture. So salary is the column name, decimal is the data type, then check is the constraint. So how the check will be written? Check inside that bracket salary greater than 0. Okay, hope you are getting. Then comma, then our next column age. So age means all integer data types, so age column name, then data type int, then constraint check, then inside bracket our condition like age greater than equals to 18. Okay, so then close the bracket, then semicolon. Okay, hope you are getting. Every time just remember column name, data type, then constraint. Okay, so as we studied about that not null, in our first column which one should not be a like mostly like which one will take primary key column, that should not be not null and it should be unique. Okay, so column name, data type, then as you see constraint, which type of constraint where we need to use. When two tables, their constraint will be foreign key. Okay, then when business rule or condition, that time we will use check constraint. Okay, based on the conditions and its column. So salary, here it is mentioned salary and age. So in salary column we will use that check constraint, and in age column we will use check constraint, and as usual that primary key column we will use the constraint primary key. Okay, hope you are understanding. Then move towards our last constraint. It is nothing but your default constraint. Default, when we will put the default, suppose any by default which we want to see it. Okay, so whenever any missing values are there or blank values are there, so I want to like see the final data sheet in the default. This blank value should be filled with default. Okay, default statement, like let's see, provides default value if none is given. Okay, if nothing is there, then we should fill it by default statement. Use default when you want to auto fill the missing values. Here enforce the business rule inside the database. Rules comes to the picture. When it missing values is there, it comes to picture default. So like suppose default we can take in the terms of like today's date, default status, default quantity equals to 0. So let's explore. So suppose here the table already employees table name, same table name, and here 3 columns also we can see, like employee ID one is the column, then hire date it has taken, then status. So 3 columns we want to display under this table name. Okay, so here employee will be table and 3 columns like employee ID, most which one is the primary key column, employee ID, then hire date, then status. So what it is saying, like any hire under the hire date column, if there is any blank or missing value, then we will fill by default. Like default that hire date will be suppose current date. Suppose nothing is there, then we will mention current date. Same way, suppose there is under status column, if nothing has been mentioned, then we will fill it by that default status active. Okay, which you want to make. So let's see how it has been written. Create table, table name, then start the open bracket, then as usual like column name, data type, then constraint. So same way we'll synchronize employee ID as a column name, then data type int, then primary key as we know, then comma, next column, hire date, then data type will be hire date, already date means date data type. Okay, then date is the data type, then constraint will become default. So how we will use default? Current date which we want to make. So for hire date, like current date we want to give, so default current date. Okay, then comma, come to next column, status. In status also there is missing value, we need to fill by default statement. So status column name, then data type Bharkar. Okay, status will be like Bharkar data type, so range also we have given like 20 character, then default active, like we need to fill it by default active, like status will by default it will show me active. Okay, then put the close bracket, semicolon. So 6 constraint, hope you understood. So just go through it, and if you are having any doubts, just put the comment under comment section so that I can respond there. So 6 constraints we studied about. So what are they? Not null, unique, then primary key. Primary key is nothing but your combination of not null and unique. Then we studied about foreign key. Whenever 2 tables comes to the pictures, so to relate these two tables we are using foreign key concept. And then check and default. Check is used basically under the business rules or condition, and default is used when any missing value, to fill the missing value with the default constraint. So how we are using this data type and constraint? Based on the column name, we are using column name, then data type, then constraint. Okay, so constraint is rules, that applicable to tables and columns to restrict the data type which we have to store under the column. Okay, and how to check and default we are using. So check inside bracket like condition, and default also like default. Simple way is default direct like which statement we want to use. Okay, so just go through it. 6 constraint: not null, unique, primary key, foreign key, check and default. So no worries for that. In practical, in my SQL workbench we will do the practical in our next video. Slowly we'll explore it. So that's it for today. Hope you like the video. So like the video, comment on it, subscribe the channel and share it with your friends and families. I will come with new series in my new video with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Have a good day. Thank you. Jai Jagannath.